My journey into human performance started in 1979 when I entered physiotherapy school. I'd gone to an English grammar school. Yes, I'm English by birth, Australian by passport, and Brazilian by wife. I live in Portugal, and I've recently registered my company in Dubai, so I'm truly global. But back in 1979, I was in England and an Englishman, and I'd gone to an English grammar school, and I was really good at sciences, and I was going to be a doctor, but they merged my boys' grammar school with the girls' high school before my A-levels. And I wasn't augmented, I was distracted. And I'll leave your imagination to that. So instead of doing medicine, I did physiotherapy, and I'm very fortunate because I loved it. It's a very pragmatic science. You know, you repair people's knees and ankles, but I very quickly got interested in peak performance. After 2 years of working in the hierarchy of a hospital, I worked with sports teams and athletes, and I was so interested. What's the difference that makes the difference in performance? Why does somebody run faster, jump higher? Why does one team come back at halftime and win? And that's where I got interested in the psychology of things. And I began to observe. And that's what physiotherapy teaches you. You get trained to be an observer. You know, if somebody has a hip operation, how are they walking after the hip operation so that you can help them improve? And I moved from England to Australia, and I set up clinics, and I was a bit of an entrepreneur, and I was helping people improve, and I helped some sports teams in Australia win gold medals, and I got a phone call from a managing director who said, I hear you helped my sports team win the championship. Can you come and work with my management team? Because, well, he said they suck, but we'll say their performance was not optimal, shall we? And I said, sure, I could do that, I think. So I went along, and I went with a blank sheet of paper, and I watched and I observed, and I could see what the challenges were, as I know all of you can. And I started to develop some processes, and I got results. But I had imposter syndrome, because I wasn't a management consultant, I wasn't working for one of the big four, so I went off to do an MBA, as you do, and I'm studying all these leadership theories, and I'm like, that isn't going to work in practice. I mean, yes, there are certain things that are interesting. Leadership is always an algorithm. The leadership style, as we heard about, the follower's motivation and skill set, and the environment. It's a good path goal theory. That was useful. But a lot of stuff was rubbish. And I said as much out loud, and I had a great professor who said, Andrew, I appreciate your participation. You've got some good ideas. Maybe you should do your own research and write a book. Now, maybe that was his way of getting rid of me, but it was great advice, and I subsequently did my research and wrote the book. With Dr. Anna Kazan, we published in 2012 the research that we worked around self-leadership. And you heard from the gentleman, I think it was David, who was talking to you about psychometrics, that we need self-awareness and we need self-management. And Anna and I looked at self-awareness, self-management, self-learning, etc. And we published this work in 2012, which has a nice foreword at the front by Chester Elton. Hi, Chester, thank you for that. And we define self-leadership as a practice. Right? Any great skill is practiced, right? Even if you're a natural tennis player, you've got to practice. I took a shower this morning, which is a practice, right? Because now I smell pretty good. But if I don't take a shower tonight, tomorrow I will, fill in the word, right? We need to practice hygiene. We need to practice skills development. We need to practice learning. We need to practice intentionally influencing our thinking, feeling, and actions towards our objectives. Whose objectives are they? Ours. Psychology 101, people do what's best for them. Now, we all are a member of tribes, various tribes inside of organizations. And so we talk about organization and team goals, but in reality, at the core, people are maximizing what's beneficial to themselves. And that's the core of self-leadership.